Hi, Colin Receiver here again. Today is Wednesday, February 12th, and I want to talk about Cialdini's fifth power of persuasion, commitment. Commitment is today's principle of persuasion, and Dr. Robert Cialdini goes into great length. He's done a number of studies on finding out how people judge their commitment to do things that they've said or committed even in writing to, their responsibility that they feel to actually follow through and complete those items. And really the application to what you're doing in your dental practice today is something as simple as appointment reminders. We see in a lot of offices that your front desk people will write on the back of the card and hand that card to the patient and say, oh, here's your next appointment. And something as simple as making them write on the back of the card when works for them, and not even writing on the back of the card their own appointment and keeping it, but also writing on the back of the card and then handing it to your front desk office and saying, this appointment works for me, has been proven time and time again to dramatically decrease no-shows. When people are forced to make a commitment in writing, or even make a verbal commitment, being its little brother, the commitment in writing being much more powerful, it's something that they have a strong responsibility, a feeling of moral responsibility to follow through on. And getting them to write down what their appointments are, getting them to write down, what they're going to do. I was buying a new car recently, and when I went to the car lot, we were out on the lot, and of course, they jump on you like vultures. And my wife and I were out there walking around and looking, and of course, here comes the sales guy and talks to us and yada, yada, yada. And when we went inside, the first thing he had me do was he said, Colin, I want you to write down on this piece of paper what kind of agreement you would like to buy this car under. And it immediately made me think of Dr. Cialdini, because this is one of his core principles of persuasion. And of course, these car salesmen have a ton of sales training, and they know once a prospect walks off the lot, the probability that they're going to sell them a car just drops through the floor. And they need to make the sale on the spot right now if they're going to make a living. And when I wrote down, hey, we're willing to pay this much, these are the terms we're looking for, this is the financing, et cetera, he committed me to that car. He made me feel like that car was mine. And this is also the same kind of feeling that auctioneers use when they're auctioning a piece of equipment. When you raise your hand and you bid $100 on that little widget on the stage, it's that feeling of commitment that you own it now that compels many auctions to the items in the auction to go for a much higher price than what they're worth. I mean, I've been to many auctions that, you're there and you see this little old junky car that this estate has on it, and it goes for $5,000 or $10,000. And you can get on Craigslist, or you can get on Auto Trader, and you can buy it for all day long at $3,000 or $4,000 or $5,000. But when people are committed to buying something and they feel like it's theirs, and then that other bidder across the room snatches it away from them with a higher bid, they are compelled to bid again at a higher price. So that is one of the strongest things you can do, is make your patients write it down, whether it's making an appointment, whether it's accepting treatment, whether it's maybe it's a disagreement that you're having. And you say, listen, patient Smith, we want to resolve this to your satisfaction. Write down on this piece of paper what it'll take to just make you ecstatic with what's happened here, to make this right with you. And we'd like to resolve it. Please write down on this piece of paper what it's going to take to do that for you. You're committing them to that agreement. Now they can't come back and act like they want more. And also in dealing with a trouble patient, the patients that you bring back from the brink of leaving your practice, that you woo back to you through, whether it was a mistake or a miscommunication, are going to be extremely loyal patients to you in the long run. Those are really the type of patients that, they were on the verge of leaving and then you woo them back, that are really going to pay, stay, and refer and be very loyal to you in the long run. So look at different ways that you can implement Cialdini's principles to attract more and keep more of the types of patients you want in your practice.